Hello guys, first of all, English is not my first language, so please bear with me. To clarify some things before we start, I am not Hope Chad or Doomer, I am just regular AOE fan. And personally I don't care about ships if Eren ends up with Mikasa or Historia, but Isayama, the author of the story, makes it clear it was about that with Mikasa-Eren conversation in chapter 123. The confession scene in manga timeline, and with Eren and Historia conversation in chapter 130, the confession scene in anime timeline, and Isayama confirms it in the last episode when he merged both chapters, chapter 123 and chapter 130, which means he merged both timelines, manga and anime. Shipping wars between Eren Mikasa and Eren Historia fans are no coincidence. Isayama has been baiting both, as within the narrative Eren has been choosing romantically between them. So let's talk about the timelines theory. It all goes back to the first episode in the anime, the different way of Eren waking up than he did in the manga, and the dream he saw, which was past and future memories, was an only anime scene. In that time it was just a theory, but after releasing chapter 138, A Long Dream, Isayama confirmed this theory when we see Mikasa past memories, cabin timeline, and the way Eren died in that timeline was the same way he wakes up on manga timeline. The same applies on the way of Eren death and buried in manga timeline was the same way he wakes up on anime timeline. So all these timelines are connected, it's like a full circle, timelines loop. What are you seeing in this specific image was an old theory I made months ago. I managed to achieve the conclusion of Mikasa death not only because the connected timelines but for more important reason, the three timelines shared something special. In every timeline beginning, Eren wakes up from his sleep crying, which refers to his death in the previous timeline. The only difference was the cabin timeline beginning. It was Mikasa who wakes up crying instead of Eren, which refers to her death in the anime ending. There is one more important thing I discovered lately about this theory. It's the Ouroboros symbol I made with this timeline circle, without even realizing what it means. I didn't even know what was the Ouroboros symbol and what it means back then. It was mere coincidence. First of all, let's know what the definition of the Ouroboros symbol. Mikasa is the trigger of the timeline's loop. In order for Eren to break free from this timeline's loop, Mikasa has to die. Dawn and dusk was mentioned many times in Linked Horizon songs. As an example, we see it here with Akatsuki no Requiem song, which it describes the ANR ending. So basically it means at dusk, Eren start his last fight, the rumbling, as we see it happening in anime timeline, and he will finish it fully at dawn. Now we will talk about the most important chapter in manga, chapter 130, and the anime adaptation to it, episode 87. We will analyze them both because understanding both of them will lead us to understanding the manga ending and why we are heading towards an anime original ending. So let's check the main difference that happened between chapter 130 and episode 87.
どこからが始まりだろう。あそこか。いや、どこでもいい。すべては俺が望んだこと。すべてはこの先にある。
Where did all of it begin? Was it there? No. It doesn't matter where. Everything happened as I willed it. Everything begins here.
So manga Eren did knew the anime original ending outcome, ANR, but he realized to reach that, he had to fail in his current timeline, manga timeline, and change his path in the next timeline, anime timeline, which means he had to choose Historia instead of Mikasa.
No. It doesn't matter where. Everything happened as I willed it. Everything begins here.
In Chapter 130, the memory shards were mixed between manga timeline memories and anime timeline memories. That's why we get confused, especially with Eren and Zeke conversation. It didn't make sense and looked weird. In one panel they talk about Mikasa and in the other one they show us Eren thinking about Historia, when in fact it was just Isayama toying with us by merging both conversations from both manga and anime timelines. I mentioned before, anime and manga timelines has many different scenes, like Eren different way of waking up in manga and anime beginnings, Eren different reaction in paths, and the birds different directions in both timelines. And as I said, chapter 130 was the most important chapter in manga. That would apply on episode 87 also, and makes it one of the most important episodes in the series, so any changes in this episode matter a lot. So let's check the anime adaptation for Eren and Zeke conversation, and see if there is any difference between the manga and anime timelines.
頭痛？アッカーマン一族に特有の疾患があるなんて巨人学や草葉さんからも聞いたことないな。記録じゃ生存本能が刺激された時アッカーマンは力に目覚めるって場合が多いようだが、宿主を守る習性？そんなものないと思うぞ。俺が思うになあエレン、その行為には正体も習性もやむにやまれる理由もない。ただお前のためなら巨人をひねり殺せるくらいお前のことが好きなだけだ。
じゃあエレン
でお前はどう答える？
何言ってんだ兄さん。俺は長生きしてもあと4年しかないんだぞ。
私が子供を作るのはどう？
So there was difference between both scenes indeed. This is just another proof this was a different conversations from in different timelines.
俺が死んだ後もずっとあいつらの人生は続く。続いてほしい。ずっと。幸せに生きていけるように。
So let's talk about Mikasa and why did Mappa removed her question from episode 80. In contrary, Mappa added original scene for Historia in the same episode was never showed in chapter 123. Now you may ask, how we still did see Eren and Mikasa confession scene in episode 87. If that was supposed to be in manga timeline only, the answer for that is simple too. As I mentioned before and showed with proofs, Isayama merged both timelines manga and anime in chapter 130, so following the same steps, he merged both anime and manga timelines in episode 87. So in other words, we have seen two different Mikasa, manga Mikasa and anime Mikasa in the last episode. Let's check how that happened. So episode 87 conclusion was, we are done with Eren choosing Mikasa paths in both cabin and manga timelines, and currently we are watching Eren choosing Historia path in anime timeline. Before months ago many AOE theory fans including me were mistaken. We thought Mikasa answer should change in episode 87, when in fact her answer didn't matter at all. What did matters was Historia answer. In other words, Isayama confirms that no matter what answer Mikasa gives to Eren in any timeline, it will always lead to Eren death and parody destruction, as it happened in both timelines, canon and manga. In contrary to that, Historia answer in anime timeline will lead Eren to live, to protect her and their child, and to protect their home parody. Now let's talk about Eren's famous panel in chapter 139, and why last manga chapters was bad, from chapter 124 till chapter 139, except 130 and 131 chapters which they were in anime timeline. So can we make sense out of that nonsense ending? Whether we agree with it or not, love has always been one of the greatest themes of Attack on Titan. If we head back to check chapter 89 and its anime adaptation episode 58, we can see that Isayama intended to make the love theme playing significant role in breaking the cycle of hatred and to free Eren and the founder Ymir itself.
家庭を持て。壁の中に入ったら初体を持つんだ。
何を言ってる。俺にはダイナがいる。それにそんなことを言われても巨人になる直前の記憶はなくなるんだろ。
そうとも限らん。後で誰かが見てるかもしれん。妻でも子供でも町の人でもいい。壁の中で人を愛せ。それができなければ繰り返すだけだ。同じ歴史を、同じ過ちを何度も。ミカサやアルミン、みんなを救いたいなら使命を全うしろ。
ミカサ？アルミン？誰のことだ？
さあ、わからない。誰の記憶だろう。
僕らだけの名前を呼び合って僕らだけの喜び分かち合った僕らだけの言葉で確かめて僕らだけの痛みを抱きしめたこの世界のどこか未来で会えるなら忘れないでいて僕のこと本当のこと
There are some related hints to this in episode 80 and episode 87, when Mappa used the owl theme OST in the couple kiss scene, and they used the same part of From You 2000 Years Ago OST in both Eren and Ymir's sacrifice scenes, as you can see here.
This world is hard and harsh things only. Everyone from loved to become loved. Helping each other to live not to die.
死んだ後もずっとあいつらの人生は続く。続いてほしい。ずっと。幸せに生きていけるように。
In conclusion, this is why we were confused after chapter 123. We were following different Eren from a different timelines. Isayama showed us the truth behind Kruger words, the same mistakes in history that kept repeating from the previous timelines, cabin and manga timelines. Isayama confirmed Eren was right and this cycle of hatred will never end, unless one of Eldia or the world perish, as he shows here with Historia words in the last chapter. So Isayama was deceiving us starting from this exact panel till the last chapter. Isayama changed his original ending. That's why some chapters looks like filler, like chapter 135 and chapter 136. He did change the original ending for reasons like this. This is my final thoughts. Now we have reached the end of the video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and comment.